Craftsman Days are here at Lowe's with big savings on the tools you need. Save $100 on the Craftsman V20 6-tool power tool combo kit, now at $199. No matter what the project is, Craftsman's high-quality, high-performance products empower you to build on. Stop by your nearest Lowe's store and check out the full line of Craftsman tools today. Valid through 6/18 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
It's the second homestand of the season, and Walters is ready to be your pre- and post-game spot this weekend. Bottomless brunch starts at 11 a.m. on both Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy bottomless mimosas, Bloody Marys, Truly, and Bud Light for only $20 with your purchase of a brunch entree. Be it beer, burgers, bourbon, or baseball, we encourage you to walk on over to Walters.
It was pretty cold on Thursday night at Nationals Park, but it's going to be beautiful Saturday and Sunday afternoons for the day games. And no better place to be before, during, or after the game than Walters right across the street from left field.
Corbin sets. Bases loaded. The 1-2 pitch. Swinging a fly ball right field deep. Soto going back, way back over his head, and gone. Goodbye into the Nationals bullpen. That one into the jet stream for an opposite field grand slam for Andrew Young. Unbelievable. He clears the bases with his second major league home run. And Arizona has put 7 runs on the board here in the second inning. It's now the Diamondbacks 10 and the Nationals 4.
And welcome to Nats Chat for Friday, April 16th, 2021, along with Nats insider Mark Zuckerman of MASNsports.com. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. It was set up so beautifully for Patrick Corbin. Game 1 of a 7-game homestand. Nats back at Nationals Park, facing Corbin's former team, the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are not a particularly good team, at least so far this year. Sometimes, though, things may be set up one way. They can play out in an entirely different way. And such was the case for Patrick Corbin in an 11-6 loss to the Arizona Diamondbacks. Corbin, 10 runs, 9 earned in 2 innings. Nats fall to 3-7 on the year. Mark, I'm not sure we could have scripted that much worse.
You know, the only thing that you didn't mention, Al, and you didn't need to because you were in the comforts of your own home. If you had been here, like Tim, who lasted a couple innings, and you really suffered through a miserable, cold, windy night that included 10 runs in the first 2 innings by Patrick Corbin. I promised I wouldn't complain at all this year because we're excited that there's baseball, that there's fans back. You know, don't want to ever take it for granted what I get to do for a living. But that was about as bad a combination as you're going to get. Miserable weather, miserable ball game right from the get-go.
It was not good. Look, with Corbin, I'd like to say for now, can we stop with 2020 is a write-off because of COVID-19 and everything else? Like, I think now it's time to be concerned about Patrick Corbin. And it doesn't mean that he's a total lost cause or anything like that. But bad last season, bad in start number 1 for this season, and now at his worst in his start number 2 on Thursday night. 10 runs, 9 earned in 2 innings. Gives up 3 homers, 3 singles, 4 walks, 2 hit by pitches. He records 1 strikeout. He throws a mere 35 of his 63 pitches for strikes. He did talk after the game. Davey talked after the game. What's the deal? What are they saying? Is he hurt? Where are we right now with this guy? This is concerning.
It is concerning. And the reason, above all else, that I'm concerned is that they didn't have an answer for it, at least in the immediate aftermath. Corbin said he feels fine physically. There's not an injury issue going on. He felt like his mechanics were okay and, went back and watched some video, whatever he could pick up on, didn't notice anything. Davey did the same in the short amount of time that he had after the game was over. They don't really have an answer for it. And in some ways, that's almost worse. If they could pinpoint and say, hey, this is what it is, or hey, my shoulder doesn't feel right, or clearly my mechanics are off and that's what's causing me to throw every fastball I throw 3 inches outside of the zone, at least you'd have an answer for it. But they don't seem to know. And in my mind, that's worse because now you're really searching. And it does make you wonder if there's a larger problem here, especially when you combine it with last year's performance, certainly his start the first time in LA. I mean, this is a bad combination. He's not throwing with velocity. He's throwing 90.4 miles an hour on average, his fastball. So he's not throwing with velocity and he's not throwing with command at all. And that's a bad combination, but he's going to get another shot. It sounds like they're going to put him back out there in 5 days and hope that he can find his way through this.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have much choice. We've talked about this. They don't have much depth when it comes to starting pitching. It's not like they got a bunch of guys major league ready at the minor league level, banging on the door to be brought up to the major league level. Like, they got to make do with what they have here. And I tell you, man, some of the specifics of these plate appearances for these Diamondbacks batters against Corbin on Thursday night, I mean, it was frightening. That one-out, bases-loaded hit-by-pitch of Wyatt Mathisen in that nightmare of a second inning, a 7-run second inning for the Diamondbacks. We had a 9-run fifth just 2 nights earlier. We have a 7-run second on Thursday night. But here you have Corbin facing Wyatt Mathisen, the number 7 batter. He's got him down 1-2, and then he hits him with a pitch. And then the next batter, the Andrew Young at-bat. 1-out, opposite field grand slam to right field on another 1-2 pitch. Young is the Diamondbacks' number 8 batter. You let the number 8 batter on a 1-2 pitch go oppo with a grand slam. It was like, oh my God. I mean, it'd be one thing. The Diamondbacks lineup isn't loaded to begin with, but it'd be one thing at least if it was like the top of the order that was dooming you. These are the 7 and 8 guys that you can't put away. It was brutal. And let me ask you this, because I didn't understand this at all. Davey had Corbin lead off the bottom of the second and then pulls him for Kyle Finnegan to begin the top of the third. Now, what's funny is Corbin got a single, so it kind of worked out for Davey.
Another hit for a pitcher.
I know. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, shut me up. But why did Davey let Corbin bat there if he was going to pull him to begin the top of the third?
I think it was just a case of not wanting to burn up his bench that early and believing that he was going to need the rest of his guys over the course of the game. And, he did have, Stevenson and Mercer and then Zimmerman pinch hit later in the game. And there was a point that the boys were kind of battling there and you thought they might have something going. And I actually wondered, would they maybe even send Zimmerman up to hit for Josh Bell late in the game when the Diamondbacks brought in a lefty? They were still down 5, I think, at that point. So it maybe wasn't the right time, but he wound up using Zimmerman later. So I think that was just a case of not wanting to burn up the bench that early in the game. But you're talking about that stretch there. That was about as bad of I'm going to say 4-batter stretch as you're ever going to see in the second inning. Things were already spiraling down. He'd already let the Diamondbacks bat around in the first, and he's already in trouble in the second. And then he almost gets out of it. Josh Harrison boots, it was a hard hit ball, but it was a potential 4-6-3 that would have gotten him out of the second inning.
Swinging a ground ball right side, and Harrison can't make the play. It scoots through him, a run scores. All hands are safe, and the game is tied. Arizona 4 and Washington 4.
Not to say that everything was going to be fixed, that the game would have been salvaged at that point, but he could have at least gotten out of the inning, come back, start the third inning fresh. So Harrison boots that one, and then he proceeds to walk the number 6 hitter, Pavin Smith, then walks him to walk in a run, okay? Then the bases loaded hit by pitch of Mathisen, and then the grand slam to the aforementioned number 8 hitter, Andrew Young. I mean, that is about as bad of a sequence as you're ever going to find from a quality, experienced big league starter against the bottom of a lineup. And with all due respect, these are not names that we know. Pretty obscure players without track records that he did that against. And that to me said that there is a problem going on here.
This is only Patrick Corbin's age 31 season. I mean, this is not someone in his mid to late 30s where like, okay, this is the end of the line. They've got to fix this. This is year 3 of that 6-year, $140 million contract. There is not an option here, okay? This can't be it for Patrick Corbin. This can't be like, well, he's just going to be a number 5 starter moving forward. Like, no, they got to fix this. And I still do believe this is not Patrick Corbin. Like, I still got to think that the guy we saw in 2019 is still somewhere there. But the more of these starts that he has, no doubt, like the more frightening it becomes because it's like, okay, can you give us a good outing here? And we're not seeing that. And it's like, it's getting worse. It's not getting better. You bring up the velocity. We know how it goes with pitchers. When the velo goes, that's when the production goes. He's walking the ballpark too. That's the other thing, man. He's not throwing strikes at all right now. And like you said, they don't have any answers, which is maybe as frightening as anything. And you combine that with Strasburg, very bad in his last start. Here you have now 2/3 of the top 3 of your rotation in a bad way right now. That's not the way this is supposed to be. A starting pitching dependent ball club and 2/3 of the top 3 of the rotation having problems. It's a good thing Joe Ross has been as good as he's been so far.
Yeah, a saving grace right there, huh? That's why this is, to me, an even bigger problem because it's not just Corbin, it is Strasburg as well. And boy, is Sunday's start big for Steven now. If he does not look like himself, now, again, twice in a row with your number 2 and your number 3 starters who you're paying a lot of money to and are locked up for a long time are having issues. And even Davey Martinez, admitted it. And he's not one to be real critical in public after a game. And His quote after this one, referring to not just Corbin, but to Strasburg as well, he says, as you guys know, our starting pitching has been the backbone here, so we've got to get these guys right. So, I mean, he's acknowledging a problem there, and that is not in character for Davey to do that. They have to get this right. It starts Sunday with Strasburg, absolutely, and then they've got to spend the next 5 days and figure out what does Corbin need to do to get right again, because he has not been close to right so far.
No, I mean, it's one of the perils of your starting pitching reliant. You're relying on 430-somethings in your rotation. You know, you're kind of walking a tightrope when you do something like that. These guys have track records, but, you know, they're also not all like in their mid-20s either. So we'll see. I mean, like I said, I still think Corbin can fix this. He's too young and he's been too good to not be able to fix this. But, man, that was like the last thing you wanted to see, the outing that he had on Thursday night. Hey guys, Al Galdi here to tell you about FanDuel. So exciting that baseball's back. There's nothing like watching a game with great weather, a cold drink, and a little action on FanDuel Sportsbook. If you've never bet on baseball before, now is the perfect time to give it a shot. Fantasy contests of all ranges. There's the $250 MLB small sack fly if you really want to go for it. There's the $150,000 MLB squeeze. FanDuel is letting new users swing for the fences risk-free. You'll get up to $1,000 back if your first bet doesn't win. And once you have an account, you can get up to $25 back each day if your same-game parlay bet falls one leg short. This way you can combine multiple baseball bets for an even bigger win all season long. There's a reason FanDuel Sportsbook is America's #1 sportsbook. The app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique fun bet types like same-game parlay, and always-on promotions to let you get more action out of every game day. And when you win, FanDuel will pay you your winnings in as little as 24 hours. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and sign up with the promo code CHAT to get in on the action. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CHAT.
21 plus and present in Colorado, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, or West Virginia. First on my real money wager, only for risk-free bet. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site. Credit that expires in 7 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 in Colorado. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-9-WITH in Indiana. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help in Michigan. 1-800-GAMBLER, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, Virginia. Tennessee, 1-800-889-9789, or in West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net.
Are you interested in buying or selling your home? Support for Nats Chat comes from Rachel Levy of Compass Real Estate. By focusing on the personal parts of the real estate process and using technology to simplify the rest, Rachel seamlessly guides her clients through their experience. Rachel uses her deep local knowledge and exceptional customer service to advocate for her clients all across D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. To learn more, follow her on Instagram at RealEstateRachel.
When Jackie Robinson dumps Reynolds' fastball pitch into short left for a single, Reese scores and ties up the ball game at 1 apiece.
You brought up the defense. I mean, yeah, that Harrison boot, that was bad. That could have been an inning-ending double play. You know, there was another defensive boot too later in the game. Starling Castro, that 2-out throwing error in the top of the 6th. Though, I tell you, it would have been nice if Josh Bell could have made that pick. I mean, that was not an impossible pick for Josh Bell to make, and he couldn't make it. The sloppiness in the field continuing on Thursday night.
It did, and, you know, again, I don't want to excuse anybody, but we've seen a couple of games now where their starting pitcher essentially took them out of the game early. And now they've got to fight through the rest of the game. And again, they're professionals. They need to make the plays and stay, you know, focused and all that in the game. But it did have a little bit of that feeling of we're just kind of going through the motions here. Let's just try to get through this game on a cold night. But I agreed with you. Castro got a little lazy on the throw. Trey Turner had one as well that wasn't so great. And Bell had one nice scoop and then the other one that he could have made and didn't. And that's where we talk about all the time. That's where Zimmerman comes into play. He saves so many errors from his teammates. And look, Josh Bell's going to do a lot of good things for this team, but this is going to be an ongoing issue with him. And if you're going to put him out there, you need perfect throws from everyone. You can't rely on him to bail your other infielders out. And it's something that we're going to see more and more over the course of the season. And you just hope that it doesn't come at a really critical moment that costs them.
Yeah, and Bell was productive at the plate, 1 for 4 with a couple of RBI, went out first pitch RBI double in the Nats 4-run first, went out first pitch RBI sac fly in the 1-run 7th. With the offense, what was the deal with Victor Robles? Victor Robles, so first of all, again, Davey has him as a number 9 batter. I mean, please stop it with this. But anyway, Robles is in that number 9 spot, struggles again at the plate, 0 for 2 with a strikeout, and then, very interestingly, very bizarrely, gets replaced in the game by Andrew Stevenson. Stevenson pinch hit in the bottom of the fourth, and then to begin the top of the fifth, Stevenson is in center field, not Robles. And Stevenson looked good at the plate, had some good plate appearances, had a two-out single in the bottom of the eighth. But I know Davey said after the game it wasn't like an injury thing with Robles. I mean, was this just a benching of Victor by Davey?
Well, I mean, yes, but I think the way Davey is describing it, and I asked him the question because I had the same concern. Did something happen there, whether it was an injury or some other reason that they felt like he needed to come out of the game? And he said no, that it essentially was just trying to push back the pitcher spot in the lineup as far as they could because they knew now they're going to need multiple innings from whoever's coming in next. And that was Luis Avilan, who bounced back big from his disastrous relief appearance a couple nights ago in St. Louis and gave them 2 scoreless. So good for him. They needed that. And I think it just amounted to you're trying to push the pitcher spot as far back as you can. But it was a little early in the game to do that. It only pushed it 1 spot. So we're not talking about a big double switch here that had a dramatic effect on anything. I did think it was strange. After that, and I don't know if it showed up on the broadcast because I think it was in between innings, but Davey was talking to a couple of the umpires, and he had his lineup card out, and I almost thought, did something go wrong there where they lost that spot in the lineup and it didn't go the way it was supposed to? But he said no, that was their replay system back in the clubhouse went down. And so he had to notify the umpire so that they could tell the other team that, what was going on. So it wasn't anything like that. A weird moment. I'm not sure I have a great explanation for it, but it doesn't appear that anything had happened to Robles to warrant the taking him out of the game at that point.
So for everyone listening right now to the Nats Chat podcast, Davey Martinez, who batted the starting pitcher 8th, then a few innings into the game decided he wanted to push back where the pitcher was batting. Maybe don't bat him 8th, Davey. I don't know. Maybe just bat him 9th. You don't have that problem moving forward. Just something to think about there. All right, so there were positives, all right? Josh Harrison, again, a positive. He is hitting out of his mind right now. Nats offense overall actually wasn't bad on Thursday night. You score 6 runs. They had a bunch of hits. But Harrison, the 2-out ribby single in the Nats 4-run first, a leadoff homer on a bomb to left field in the bottom of the 6th inning. It's funny, the Nats honor Asdrubal Cabrera, who was with the Diamondbacks on Thursday night in a class move. I thought it was very nice to see. But we made that comp on our previous installment of the podcast. Harrison's kind of another Asdrubal here, a discarded veteran who's done well. And man, he is just locked in right now.
Yeah, no, he's been fantastic. He also had the RBI single in the first. I've lost track of the numbers now, but it's something like 8 for 11, I think, since his 0 for 3 start on Monday. Really valuable. And all the talk all spring about Tartar Kieboom not winning the job at third, and now they're going to have to put Starlin Castro at third. And what would that mean? And Josh Harrison is the beneficiary of that. And right now, would you rather have Harrison or Kieboom in your lineup? It's not even a contest. No contest at all. Harrison's been great for them. That's really encouraging. And, you mentioned they had a decent night at the plate. That, to me, was above everything else why the Corbin start was so agonizing. After the awful top of the first, they come back and score 4 runs in the bottom of the first. The first 3 batters, Turner, Soto, Bell, just crushed the ball against Merrill Kelly. All 3, 100 miles an hour off the bat or more. And then that doesn't even include the Starlin Castro 2-run homer. So they take the lead 4-3, and then Corbin goes back to the mound and gives it all back and more. And that was such a deflating moment. I mean, it felt like at the end of the first, okay, you got through this. There's still a chance here. You may take control of this game. You're going to hit this guy. And they really didn't hit Kelly that much the rest of the night after that.
No, but that's so true. You answer a 3 spot with a 4 spot, and then you give it right back with a 7 spot. And it's like, what more are you supposed to do? You score 6 runs. You total 11 hits. You knock around the opposing pitcher, even though, it lessened as the game went on. But Merrill Kelly, 6 runs in 6 innings. Like, you should win that game. That should be a win for you. If you're a playoff team, you win a game like that. And clearly, that's not what ended up happening. You mentioned the bullpen. It was good to see Luis Avilan do as he did. It was another good game for the Nats pen. I mean, rather quietly, the Nats bullpen's been pretty good so far. Kyle Finnegan had a couple of scoreless innings. Avilan, the 2 scoreless and hitless innings. The Zuckerman Suero meter had to be tapped into once again. Another outing for him. Where are we at now with Suero?
9 out of 10, 7 appearances plus 2 warm-ups in 10 games. Dave even acknowledged it after the game, smiled about it. He said, we might need to be a little concerned here, but every day Wander tells me that he's good to go and he's ready to pitch. And so for now, he's on pace for something like 113 appearances.
Wander Suero is going to have to undergo Tommy John surgery in-game in the middle of July. I'm convinced of that.
And could then pitch the next day after it.
Yeah, right. But you know what? He's doing well. He tossed a perfect 7th on Thursday night. The only boo-boo, Hudson gave up the solo homer with 2 outs, top of the 8th to Pavin Smith. And then Brad Hand had an odd 9th inning, scoreless 9th, but he issues back-to-back went out hit by pitches. I tell you, on Thursday night, it was rough for all Nats pitchers from this standpoint. 7 total walks issued and 5 hit by pitches issued. Way too many free passes in the game.
I don't know if I've ever seen 5 hit by pitches by one team, and that didn't involve a brawl.
No.
And there was no question, it wasn't like the Diamondbacks were upset about it at all. That was a weird one. And I don't know, maybe a cold night, they were having trouble gripping the ball, but I mean, that was pretty crazy.
You don't think the Diamondbacks might retaliate for that, do you, moving forward in the series?
I wouldn't think so. I mean, I couldn't detect anything coming from their dugout about being upset about it. And the game's getting out of hand, and I don't think they had any reason to think there was anything intentional behind it. And it didn't look like anyone really took it up and in, anything like that. So you would certainly hope not. One of my big pet peeves about baseball is sometimes these players and these teams are just taking it way too personally when there was no intent. It does happen sometimes. Guys get hit by pitch. Guys get thrown upstairs, up and in. Doesn't mean it's on purpose. It doesn't mean you have to retaliate. And I feel like so many of these situations that escalate don't need to, and that they're more because of the second team, not because of the first team. It's usually because the team that got hit by pitch takes more offense to it than they should have.
Yeah, and you have this holding of grudges. It's like something happened 2 years ago and we still remember it, and so we're going to get our revenge today. And it's like, geez, can you just let it go? Like, what's the big deal at this point?
Hunter Strickland?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Leave the brawling to Adam Eaton, okay? He does it well. Let him do that, okay? Please. Well, Mark, big spot for Max Scherzer on Friday night. Game 2 of this series, 7:05. It's a Max Scherzer day on Friday. Nats are going Scherzer, Eric Fetty, then Saturday afternoon. Steven Strasburg, like you said, on Sunday afternoon. But boy, do they need Max to be the Max we all know and love on Friday night.
They need it. Thankfully, really since the first couple innings on opening day, he's been very good. He's been the Max Scherzer. He knows it. He knows what's at stake, and he understands when they need a stopper. He won't come out and say it, but he knows it. He knows that the bullpen got burned up in this game. I asked Davey, do you need a fresh arm from Fredericksburg? And he felt like everybody should be in decent shape. And I think in the back of his mind, he knows that he has Scherzer starting on Friday. And so that hopefully means a guaranteed 6 or 7 innings. I'll be curious, do they get him up to 100 pitches, which he hasn't done yet? Is he ready for that? Or are they going to try to take it easier with him like they have with everyone so far? But they need a good start from Max Scherzer. They need to do what they did in this game and score early, and then hope that their pitcher can hold on to that lead and get back on track. It's been such a roller coaster this first 2 weeks of the season. I feel like one night we're saying, boy, all right, they're fixed, they're good. And then the next night is disaster again. This is a weekend where it would seem like they can get things under control and start being the team they're supposed to be. But they got off on the wrong foot in the opener of the series.
Your runs allowed by the Nats over the last 4 games, 2, 14, 0, and 11. You talk about feast or famine. That's the way it's been over these last 4 games here for the Nats. All right, we want to hear from you. It's been a lot of fun interacting with you guys on Twitter, so keep the feedback coming. You can tweet the podcast at Nats_chat. You can also email us, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to become a sponsor of the Nats Chat Podcast, contact the man above all of this, Tim Shovers. You can reach him again, natschatpodcast@gmail.com. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat are courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. We'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat Podcast.
Robinson dashes to the plate. It's close, and umpire Summers calls him safe on the daring maneuver. But Yogi Berra doesn't think so. And the fans will never forget the sight of Jackie Robinson preparing for the plate on his daring steal.